What am I going to watch? Fucking true crime, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's not at the park by herself, but I think it kind of ruins her brain.
Did I see a picture of you in a hockey jersey when you were little?
No, I think it's like having a side chick.
Even if it's 808 drums, I don't know. I'm not a musician, so I don't know anything about this.
I have a song, and I don't know if I'll ever release it.
I kind of want to highlight the positive a little bit, you know?
Check out how bad this new song is. I hate that stuff. Don't send that to me.
And let me tell you something, you cannot have security if you're not doing this for you first.
I have really thick skin in a way that I'm so thankful for because people like being mean or talking trash or busting balls, I find it funny.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
What's going on, dude?
Hey, Patrick, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, how's your day going so far?
Going very well, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. Super excited to get the day started talking with you.
Perfect. Whereabouts are you at?
I am in Austin, Texas. Are you home right now or are you traveling?
No, I'm home, Edmonton, Alberta. It's funny, I was doing a video last night with some other people and met a guy from Austin, Texas. Well, he played hockey there, so he's from Canada. But anyways, I've been talking about Austin, Texas a lot lately for whatever reason.
Could it be a sign? Maybe you got to make your way down here, you know?
I listen. I will. We're not recording it. Or are we? You know what? I'll tell you. I don't care. Austin, Texas, 6th Street is the only time in my adult life, and now this is like almost 20 years ago, where I got so drunk that I peed my pants. So I've had a lot of fun in Austin and would love to again.
All right, look, I feel like that's a sign from the universe. We'll just take it for what it is, okay?
There you go. There you go.
When it comes to Canada, being in Edmonton, Alberta, correct? How long have you been there? Has that been where you've been most of your life?
Yes, so born and raised, if you're from here, people will say it doesn't count because I'm from St. Albert, which is like a suburb. It's very nice and quiet, and that's where I am again now. So I'm away from the hustle and bustle of Edmonton, but yeah, I've lived in Toronto and Calgary in my life as well. But this is home for sure. This is home.
I feel like so many people always have the urge to leave the place that they are from. What do you think it is about that place that keeps you coming back to it?
Well, yeah, so it's different for everyone. Of course, when you grow up a kid from Edmonton, you fall in love with music and TV shows and all these things that take place in, for me it was like Southern California. I love the OC and all my favorite bands were from Southern California. I was like, that's where I'm going to end up. That's where I'd like to live. And I think a lot, life happens. You realize, first of all, I'm very close with my family. I have a niece who's 7 and she's my favorite human in the world. I couldn't imagine living elsewhere. And then the practical side of things, it's like cost of living here is very good, even compared to the rest of Canada, where it's like, you have a little bit more disposable income to travel, which I love doing. So it's all of those things involved. I understand why people leave. I certainly felt that way when I was younger, but I think, unfortunately, man, I find that like most of the things my parents told me when I was younger end up being true, whether it's like, buy the discount brand of stuff at the grocery store and you're like, oh, the cereal isn't as good. And then things they're like, you're going to love Edmonton when you grow up, you're going to realize, and they're right.
Dude, I love that so much. And I feel like maybe it could also be a part of, because of how long you've been doing this, it almost kind of gives you a place of sense of stability. And so I feel like that's maybe something that you're drawn to.
That is a great point. And it's so funny. I was talking to my sister the other day. She makes fun of me for still being single. And she's like, well, what are you looking for? And I've only realized this recently in life. And I think that where I live has a lot to do with that as well. And it's music is chaos. It is chaos every day because you can have a great week, you can have a great month or a great year and think you're set. I've been doing this long enough to know that means nothing. You can have a really bad year, you can have a bad week. So it's chaos. What I want from the things that are not music is stability and peace and calm. And I think you're right. I think my living situation gives me that. It gives me, dinner on Sunday at mom's, which we still do all the time. And it's just those things that I think for me specifically, because it's so chaotic elsewhere, I really do gravitate towards that stability where I can get it.
I mean, I feel like it shows even in the way you're writing and then in the music. Do you feel like that stability that you're looking for, that you have a sense of, is impacting the way you're writing and making music today?
It's so funny because I've never even been asked that, but it's true because when I write songs for how I think I should be writing, or if I'm doing where, it's like, this isn't hitting. So anytime I'm trying to write, to be honest with you, it doesn't work. When I am just doing what is in my heart or what I hear, like for me, songs come to me in melody form, whether I like it or not. It's just a tune in my head and I can't get it out. And when it's natural and when it just flows for me, that is how I write best. And it is always the songs that end up being the ones I cut and that do the best 100%.
Dude, I love to hear it. And before we dive into some of your music, I want to talk about your childhood real quick. You mentioned something about hockey right when we started, but did I see a picture of you in a hockey jersey when you were little?
Oh yeah. Like not so did you see a picture of me in a hockey jersey when I was little? This is kind of a running joke that you couldn't find pictures of me when I was little without a hockey jersey. And I'll take it one step further. There was this green hockey helmet, and I wouldn't take it off for 2 years. And to the point where when my Uncle Jim got married, I wore this green hockey helmet. I was obsessed with the Edmonton Oilers and Wayne Gretzky, and it was my life. And it kind of rings true to this day where when I like something, man, it is game over. I sink everything into it. So yeah, hockey is a huge part of my upbringing where I'm from. It explains a lot, I think.
Please tell me that green helmet still exists.
It does. I think it is even, I think my dad still has it. Yeah, 100%. Can't get
Very
it.
cool. Was there ever a point where you dreamed of being both a professional athlete and a musician? Or did those worlds not ever really cross in your head when you were little, if that makes sense?
No, it's a great question, and I remember the day it happened. I was still pretty heavily in sports, and then on June 28th, 2000, I saw my favorite band at the time live for the first time, and they still weren't. They played to maybe 500 people, and I quit everything. Like I was like, I need to be a singer. I need to do that. And sports, maybe they overlapped for a couple years, but in terms of that passion, no. I was 15 and I've never looked back. And that I think is a good quality, to be honest. I think that you want to be well-rounded, and I of course have other interests, and I still love sports as a distraction, but no, I think it's like having a side chick. I don't think you can respect your passion if you have more than one.
Dude, I couldn't agree with that. And we're actually going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But I'm curious to ask you, when's the last time you were on ice?
Oh, every winter I get out there. Like outdoor rink playing. Like it's funny because you got to find that sweet spot where if it's too cold, I can't do it. But yeah, every winter I'll get out in the outdoor rinks and fire some pucks around and realize how old I am because my hips hurt so bad after.
Very cool. Well, I love to see that hockey's making its way into mainstream with shows like Heated Rivalry off campus. Have you watched any of them?
I haven't, because here's the thing too, is that every time I get recommended a show, if it's not true crime, which is not healthy, I will admit it. I can't get excited. I don't watch dramas. I don't watch comedies. I don't watch like any of that stuff. And I think I'm thankful for that. I've never been into video games, and I'm thankful for that just because, like I've already described, when I get into stuff, I sink into it, and I do not need more distractions. Golf, I don't golf. And the reason why is because I know I'd become obsessed with it. I know I would be doing, and I can't be doing things that take away more of my time. So no, I haven't, but I've heard nothing but great things. One of my favorite podcasts, it's a hockey podcast called What Chaos. And they got really into the heated rivalry thing, and they've become, I want to say that their profile has grown exponentially as a result of being that podcast that, sort of championed the show, and I'm all for it. Love it.
Dude, such a good answer, and it's so relatable because I have those moments where I'm like, I want to relax and I just want to take things easy. What am I going to watch? Fucking true crime, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny because I've mentioned my niece, so like I love her, whatever, but like she'll go to the park literally right behind my sister's house by herself. I'm like, you can't do that. What are you doing? Like she's like, well, do you want to come over and sit with her? I was like, yep. Like I'm not like, she's not at the park by herself. Like I think it kind of ruins your brain. Or my sister was coming back from a trip in the winter. It was like she went out for New Year's to someone's, and it was out in the middle of nowhere, so they had no cell phone reception. And my mom's like, have you heard from Beth today? I haven't. I was like, losing my mind for like the 20 minutes she was outside of reception. She got back into reception, messaged us. She's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just driving home. I'm like, like it kind of like ruins your perspective on reality if you listen to too much of it, but I'm addicted. I don't know.
No, it really does because I also have developed this complex of like, I can solve fucking anything.
Yeah, there you go. 100%. It's always like, man, if I were on the case, like I would know what to do, and probably I'd be useless, but
No, 100%. In a previous interview, you talked about loving nostalgia. So I want to ask you some random questions real quick. But the first one I have is, if Blockbuster was around today, what would you be renting?
I would probably honestly just go back to the movies I grew up with. So that'd be like late 80s, early 90s. Like, honestly, it doesn't matter what genre it would be. It would be because I like action movies from that. There's a certain quality to them, and I know Like old dudes will say this they've said it forever and they will say it forever, is that in my day things were better. And I just do feel that way though. Like some of the acting is cheesy, but it's in a good way. And like, like John Cusack movies, like all the John Hughes, or just that era of movie, I think there's a charm to it that you just won't get back when it's, straight to your computer screen. And so that's a very non-specific answer, I know, but it would just be like 80s, 90s movies. I would not be renting anything current, that's for sure.
Dude, it's such a good answer. In this same interview, you mentioned Slurpees. What was your favorite Slurpee back then?
Um, oh, it would be a mix. So I liked the Sprite layered with Pepsi, actually. I think Pepsi Slurpees were better than Coke. So that would be my answer. Sprite and Pepsi.
Dude, hell yes. If Sprite and Pepsi were not in the picture, but 7-Eleven contacted you today, what would be the Delta Sweet Slurpee special in 2026?
It would be like a lemon lime. I'm just thinking about like a hot day. It would be a lemon lime, like kind of Mountain Dew adjacent flavor profile. What a question. Love it.
Dude, hell yes. And we're just getting started, so brace yourself,
Oh,
okay?
I love it. Yeah, yeah, hey, I like it.
Up until recently, you haven't had many, if any, co-writes. Is that correct?
No, I do a lot of co-writing. I don't release a lot of the songs. I haven't yet released a ton of songs that I've co-written. That is not to say that my co-writes are not very strong, and I have some stuff that I'm sitting on that I've co-written. But anything I've released so far, actually, I just put out a song a couple weeks ago, and it's the first song I've released as Delta Suite that was a co-write.
Dude, smooth running is how I discovered you, and I always like to tell my
Really?
guests this. It fucked me up, okay?
No way. I'm
Yes.
so happy to hear that. Thank you. Yeah, that I wrote with my best friend. He doesn't write songs even. He's just like he's my best friend. He's the most interesting man in the world. I don't know what he even does, but he just like lives in the desert in Arizona, and he knows trucks, man. And he tells these stories about these old trucks and the people he meets through selling trucks and buying trucks. And I was like, listen, man, if I try and write this, it will not be as authentic. You got to write this with me. And see, this I don't like, because he's gonna say that he's gonna be like, yeah, dude, like you have to write with me all the time or else your songs aren't good. So, but
Exactly.
Take the long way around, baby, that's alright. We got a full tank, keep on humming. If we don't look back, we can drive all night. Yeah, we're smooth running.
Dude, I was doom scrolling and then I came across the video that you made about like you guys wouldn't have known back then that you'd be making a country song today. And I was just like, hold the fuck up. Ran to Spotify. Then I was like, I gotta look up his email. And I wrote you instantly.
okay, I love that. You know what? This is one of those things where I think that the internet and social media has unfortunately become an overwhelmingly negative place. But there are these pockets where, I met a girl through TikTok who makes custom jackets, and like she paints them, and she was like, can I make you one? I was like, can you make me one? Yes. Like these are so sick. Shout out Sonia. And then this, you know what I mean? Where sometimes you're scrolling, a lot of it'll make you upset, but if someone, finds this song I wrote with my best friend, and you're in Austin, Texas, where most people who know my stuff are all in Canada. Like, I love that. I love hearing that.
Dude, hell yes. Well, aside from social media, the music landscape has changed dramatically since you started. Is there anything else you appreciate as an artist about how it's done today? And I ask you this because I feel like sometimes as artists, it's easy to focus on what was so much easier back then and how it's difficult now. So I kind of want to highlight the positive a little bit, you know?
Yes, and I think that that is what we should always do is, nothing is all good or bad with this. I mean, I do think that unfortunately I'm not it's gonna I do think that there's a lot of things about the way we consume art nowadays through the internet that is unfortunately not for the better. But the fact that you can have an audience and that audience cannot be gatekept because of the fact that you are your own PR through your own social media. You have the ability to let people know who you are as a person as much as ever, I think is obviously a positive. I think that it is always good when more people can create art and be able to at least have an attempt to broadcast it. I think that all these things are positive. Yeah, there's obviously good things. You can find an audience unlike ever before. And as artists, we all want that ability. So I think that that is a positive.
Dude, I was not expecting such a good answer, okay?
I mean, I'm trying my best because I think you can probably tell. I think that there's more mouths to feed than ever before and way less food to go around. So that creates a system that is tough. And, there's no HR department. You can't say, listen, I've been making music for 10 years. It's my chance. I get to go on that stage. It doesn't work that way. It is the hardest thing in the world, man. It is so hard. And that's why I will say this, though, is that and people close to me will back me up on this. Unless someone is a bad person, I don't talk trash on artists. I don't say, hey man, I don't send to my friends. I think it's bad energy to be like, check out how bad this new song is. I hate that stuff. Don't send that to me. They're trying. They're trying and it is so hard, and I have respect for anybody who signs up for this silly dream. We all have it, and I respect anyone who gives it a chance. They're trying. I love that they're trying.
Dude, 100%. And I love the message of also like this putting you in a position where because it's so oversaturated, you do have to show a glimpse of who you are in order to engage an audience that's going to be there at the core of who you are as a person, not just an artist. And I've got to tell you, dude, like I feel like you exude this. This is exactly why I felt so drawn to write you, because I was like, man, this is definitely someone who is grounded in who he is. And I can't rave about this any more than I already am, but I absolutely love that message too. So great answer for sure.
Well, thank you so much. And I think that I do have the benefit of the experience. I've only ever done things that have been love or hate. So very early in my music career, I was open to that negative side and people talking trash. You know what? We go tie it into sports, which it sounds unrelated. I have really thick skin in a way that I'm so thankful for, because people like being mean or talking trash or busting balls, I find it funny. And I genuinely find it funny. If someone's like, this sucks, I know so many people who take that to heart. I'm like, okay, good, dude. I don't care. Like I'm genuinely okay with people who don't like what I'm doing musically. And therefore I don't get too high and I don't get too low. And I think that that's an overwhelmingly positive thing. I think the downside to that is I struggle to appreciate things in the moment. I really do, because I'm always like, yeah, that was great. What's next? Which is good, but also, I don't want to look back on my life and be like, man, I was doing that and I didn't care, because I've had those moments, like my old band Stereos opened for Katy Perry. And when we got off stage, half the crowd missed her set to come try and like get photos with us. It's like looking back, such a surreal moment. And in the moment I was like, yeah, what's next? Like we belong here. And I wish I appreciated it more. So anyways, I do think that experience has helped me weather those storms a little bit more, because you talk about, yeah, you can be vulnerable, you can show who you are. And like, that's good. The downside is that you are opening yourself up to a world of literal evil, of people who will do anything they can to try and bring you down, especially if you start doing well.
I love to hear how you're taking it, because I feel like that also speaks a lot of volumes to your security. And let me tell you something, you cannot have security if you're not doing this for you first. So I think it speaks a lot of volumes. So I love to hear that. It's such a good reminder. But I'm also glad you mentioned tying hockey into this, because I loved your approach on giving country music the respect it deserves and wanting to learn everything you could about it when you started to hone in on the solo project. Would you say this was that inner child athlete part of you?
Yes, 100%. So I was talking to a guy yesterday. He plays hockey in Germany now. He grew up Canada, played in the States a lot. And so sports is yet another thing right now where it's kind of broken. Like it's like you as young as 5, 6 now have to decide if you want to play hockey full time, which is insane. And if you don't, you're going to, the chances of you making, like accomplishing those dreams is going to be, pretty diminished. But what sports can teach you and what they taught me is, I think, just teamwork and resilience and keeping your head down, and the fact that you can fall behind but you're not done. You can lose games but you're not done. And I think that instead of trying to become a professional hockey player, sports should teach you all the positive things that are about sports. And absolutely I've been able to translate that into music. So yeah, from a very early age, learning preparation is big. So that's where you're talking about, is where I spoke about how I watched the full 8 hour documentary on country music, the Ken Burns one. And I think every country artist should watch it, especially if you're like me. And let's just like address the elephant in the room. My background, I was in pop. I'm a suburban kid who grew up crying if I didn't get the right hockey skates. I didn't grow up on a farm. I'm not a rancher. But you know what? None of us are. Very few of us are actual ranchers. And so the country has this authenticity Olympics where it's like, who's more legit? Dude, whatever. Like, because if you watch that documentary, there's some legends in country music, legends who were not accepted by country music at the time because they weren't country enough, or they're from Atlanta, a big city, not rural Georgia. Like, there's so many stories. So instead of focusing on that, just be prepared to do a good job. And that's what, yes, sports put that in me at an early age. And I think I've been able to, I want to show up prepared because it bugs me when other people don't.
Dude, it's such a good answer because to me, it's all about the storytelling. That's what country music is all about. And it's not about having a pissing contest on who's had it worse, right? It's just about storytelling. I feel like that's where the roots of it are. And I feel like you're 100% right when it comes to that message. And something I wanted to talk about in regards to this documentary that you were watching, part of this journey was how you adopted the name Delta Suite, inspired
Yeah.
by Bobby Gentry's The Delta Suite album. Have you ever considered doing a tribute to her music, whether it be shows or reimagining one of her original songs? How do you feel about that?
100%. Yeah. So she is from an era of country music, and she was so like different as it is. So she's from an era that was interesting in country music. Like this is like 50s, 60s, I want to say. So, like it was, the eras of country are so interesting that to adapt it to something I do, the answer is yes, but it's a tricky thing to find. I'm at a stage in my career right now where, yeah, so I'm doing a lot of covers to get like, I'm doing these opening slots and things like that. And country is very cover heavy for the live show, which is something I had to get over, right? Like as an artist, as a solo artist, you want to be like, well, I have my own songs. You got to get over that. So I've already had to unlearn the idea that like, you're only making it if you're doing your own original material. What you want is the crowd to have fun. So that's why I bring this up, is very few people know her songs at all nowadays, I would say. And so I would love to do it. I would just love to do it in a way that it connects. And right now, it might sound unrelated, but we live in this culture where you got to release one song every 3 months. And that's kind of like to keep the DSPs happy. So finding a spot to do it is my trick. I don't know where I would do it, but yes, I would love to, shine a light more on what Bobby Gentry does. And there's probably people, who maybe hear this are like, listen, dude, I don't know who you are, but I absolutely know who she is. And I think that's great too.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, because of that story, I went down the rabbit hole and I listened to most of that album and I felt so fucking inspired. And I was like, man, I've got to also ask you this. Do you recall listening to the song Reunion that's on that album?
Yes, of course. That's like one of the two. There's Ode to Billy Joe and then the reunion song. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's a few. But yes, to answer your question, I've heard that 100%. I've listened to the album probably 2 or 3 times.
Dude, because all I kept thinking about is the first 5 fucking seconds of that song. You can't tell me that you hear it and you can't hear that being like amplified with like, even if it's 808 drums. I don't know. I'm not a musician, so I don't know anything about this, but you cannot tell me that the first 5 seconds of that song would not fucking hit in a stadium. Just those drums that come in, it's fucking sick. I love it so much. So thank you for that because you put me on it.
Amen. Thank you for that. I'm gonna have to give you a co-write if I do that.
Dude, you're very welcome. This is why we do Unshut, okay?
I love it. I love it.
You've talked about international appeal in previous interviews. If there's a song that you could shock the scene with doing a country Spanish version, which one would it be? One that's yours.
I have a song and I don't know if I'll ever release it. I love it so much. My producer likes it. It's called Jalisco Lemonade. And it was just like a term I came up with back in my drinking days, and I no longer do, just for like a good plata tequila. And so I already have some like Spanish words in there. And it would be like the perfect candidate. It's a good vibey beach song. So my like in-laws are all Mexican, like my sister married into it, and so they could help me with the make sure that I get it the terminology right. But it has like this good like salsa almost like backbeat to it as well. It's the perfect song.
Dude, please tell everyone and anyone listening that we did not plan for that question.
No, well, I mean, I'm kind of impressed with myself that I was able to answer it so quickly, because otherwise I would have been stumped. But yeah, the one that I already have Spanish words in, which I've been trying to do for a while. It's a good song too.
Well, listen, if that song ever comes to light, whether it's in full Spanish or not, send it my way first, please, because I'm geeking out about the fact that this just came up randomly today.
I'll send you the demo if you want. My demos are very, very bad, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
Dude, absolutely. Hell yes. I'm totally down for sure. Promise I won't leak it. I'll sign whatever you need me to sign, okay?
Trust you. You have good vibes.
Thanks, man. You too. Patrick, have you ever considered any sort of acting?
Oh my goodness, dude. So I've acted. Oh, I've acted on some, no offense, I hope, like retroactive. You say things and then they come back on some very bad TV shows. So yeah, there was so up here we had YTV, which was kind of like Nickelodeon, I guess you guys would have had. And there was one where we had a full-on episode of us. Yeah, like I forget the premise. It was like a middle school booking us as a band, but we had to do some acting. And I think I was probably not bad. It's on YouTube. And no offense, like I don't care what they say. The rest of my band are brutal actors. Brutal. And here's a little peek behind the curtain. So the way we broke in Canada was a reality show, which was finding unsigned bands to it wasn't a competition. We didn't compete against other bands, but you'd perform to judges and they just kind of say yes or no, like you have what it takes. But because we were so awesome, they saved us for the finale and we got signed and they turned it into like a 2-part episode and like blew up our careers. The reason I mention this is the first half. I've rewatched it recently. The first half is I get emotional watching it because it's so real. It's like me, I'm just a dreamer. I'm so excited to be on TV and have my shot. But the problem is because they liked us so much and turned it into this 2-part episode where we get signed, is the whole second half of the episode is like fabricated essentially. We already knew we were getting signed. We already had like all these things lined up, but we have to pretend it's like, you have one shot to perform. And we're like, oh my God, are we gonna do it? And it's acted, and dude, it is so bad. Like it is like literally like some of the band members be like, isn't our show this week? And it's like, it's just so bad. I have a tendency to ramble because you asked me if I would act. And so the answer is yes, I would. I enjoy doing it actually. And I think I'm actually not that bad.
I fucking love the lore and I love this response so much. And the reason I asked you this is because I had listened to an interview where you talked about, how basically this industry is like the lotto. And don't quote me on any of this. I'm not quoting you correctly, but I love the fact that you were so aware on how there are so many facets that can potentially be your ticket to making it, right? Whether it's through a social media clip or through it's a song or an album or knowing a producer or whatever the situation may be. And so I was like, man, talk about someone who's so aware of all the avenues that it can take in order to have that one moment. I'm like, I've got to ask about acting real quick, but I did not know the lore behind that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think I usually use that analogy. I think it is a great analogy, shout out me, but I usually use it to emphasize being kind to everyone because I do think that is an underrated, and especially nowadays, it's so competitive. There's way too many clicks, and I think people are very short-sighted and burn bridges they don't need to. And it's like, I'm not saying be kind strategically just to be, like Machiavellian and just like win, but like just be nice to everyone, man. You never know. But yeah, it's you got to have. If you're an actor and you can turn that into musical success, what am I going to do? Hate on you for it? I won't.
Exactly. In honor of your collaboration with Tuesday Brewing Company, I'm going to give you a song title and I want you to tell me what kind of drink this would be. Doesn't have to be alcoholic, just the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty, the first one is Out of Money, Out of Mind.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, that's gonna be, like, what's the term? AGD. It's like, or no, Cold 45. Cold 45 beer. There you go.
I'm feeling heartache 'cause she don't feel the same. She wants somebody with a fortune and fame. I'm Miller Lite and she's expensive wine. I'm out of money, so I'm out of mind, yeah. I'm out of mind,
Dude, amazing. The next one I have for you is Paradise. What would that one be?
That's gonna be a tequila cocktail, maybe some guava juice, but only guava juice where you can get real guava juice, like Hawaii. Yeah, you gotta have the real stuff. And maybe a little club soda for some spritz.
Hell
There you go.
yes. Dude, guava is one of my favorites. So that answer is already one of my favorites. But I've also got to ask you real quick, in that music video, that signed Pamela Anderson picture, is that real?
No. So that is the producer of that video, the director, Steve Taylor, absolute beauty, friend of mine, he was making little like Easter egg things, like things he wanted around it. And he's like, who should we put in the photo? He's like, should we put one of your exes? And I was like, no, that could go over poorly. And then I was like, dude, like my first ever like celebrity crush was Pam Anderson. And I didn't even remember it was a text conversation. And so I forgot about it completely. And then I showed up to shoot the video and he had it framed. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is so funny. So no, it is not. I think the writing is probably him, to be honest.
What's paradise? It's me and the boys on a Friday night, sipping on gold till I can't see right. Pretty little thing right by my side. Well, that's paradise. The cowboy cuts with the perfect fit. Ran out of my own, but my buddy's got it. The love of your life that you just won't quit. Well, that's paradise. Come on.
Dude, well, that's actually hilarious that you used the word Easter egg because I wrote on my notes, if this were to be an Easter egg, what would a song titled Pamela be about?
Yeah, it'd be my first crush. It was that and then the Heartbreaker video by Mariah Carey, where I really realized I like this.
That straight awakening. I fucking love it.
Yeah, dude, Baywatch and early Mariah videos. I'm trying to think if they're, yeah, that's where yeah, something there.
Dude, that just totally made my day because everyone always talks about, like, for example, me, I'm totally gay, okay? It's not a secret, but we always talk about our gay awakening, and no one ever talks about what their straight awakening is. So thank you so much for sharing.
100% happy to. I think that, like, yeah, it happens where, yeah, I mean, it's all, it's nature, but there's sometimes where nature, you're like, oh, that's what I like. And I'm going to like that forever.
Dude, hell yes. The last one I have for you is 2008-2009 era Summer Girl. What would that
Yep.
drink be?
Oh, I'll tell you what it would be. It would be the stupidest invention of all time. And I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to be like, that's gross. And it was gross. But Rob, one of my best buds in the band Stereos, him and I, we thought we were cool and funny. And so we, both grew up on Ninja Turtles. And there's one of the Ninja Turtles movies called Secret of the Ooze. And so we're like, let's make a drink called Ooze. And what it was gin and lime crush. Dude, so bad. But when we get bits, we don't like getting rid of them, so we stuck with it. And so it would be ooze. It would be gin and lime crush. I wonder if he even remembers us inventing that.
Dude,
But
that is fucking genius. I love it so much.
it was gross, man.
I love it so much too because it's no secret that like I became an instant fan of yours. But my biggest thing is I want to honor you and who you are. And I didn't really want to make this all about your past and all the music that you've released before. And so I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to highlight you, Patrick, Delta Sweet, because that's what I feel like this is all about. It's about honoring you, the guest, the artist, the person behind the artist. But I also had to make sure I incorporated a little bit of stereos in there at the end.
You gotta understand, man, I am so proud of Stereos. I am also, like, if we talk about the lottery analogy, like that's one of my tickets, man. It's one of the things that differentiates me is that I had this band that, we had a really good run for a few years there. It was on the national scale. I got to see the world because of it. And so for me to be one of those like, oh, don't, like, long story short, I'm happy to talk about everything I've done because I'm very proud of it.
And
Stereos,
as you should be.
we get to play with Simple Plan in September. People call us a one-hit wonder, and to an extent, they're right. And because of that one song, I get to still play with one of the bands that was the reason I still make music at 41 years old. I'm so lucky. Like, blessed. So I'm happy to talk about it. But yeah.
Dude, absolutely. Well, I appreciate that so much. And I love that you are so open to talking about it. And I feel like that says a lot about you always being in touch with your roots, because it's no secret that even some country styles were impacted into stereos down at some point. And I feel like that just really says a lot about how you, as an artist, as an individual, you're always going back to your roots. And I go back to that stability that you're seeking, that you're getting now, being at home still. And I feel like that to me, it says so much about you. And it's why I love to have these conversations with people like you. It's amazing.
I appreciate you saying that so much. And likewise, though, like that, I'm at the point in my life right now where I think We miss so much human interaction, just talking to people with good vibes. We're obviously like you. I can tell how much you like love what you do as well. Like the fact that you put in the time. This isn't just to, I'm sure podcasting and those things. Like there's a lot of them out there. So I'm sure it's hard, to try and get those moments where you feel like I'm standing out. And so like I appreciate anybody who just brings, happiness and light to the conversations with other people that they have. And so I got a lot out of this too, man. This is awesome.
Oh, well, I appreciate that so much. And you mentioned September, you mentioned Simple Plan. What is next in the summer era? Because September is, a few months away, but what is happening for you in the summer? What can you tell us about what to expect?
Yeah, so I'm going to be playing Country Thunder, which is one of our biggest festivals here in a couple weeks in Calgary. And I'm going to be playing Big Valley Jamboree, which is another that's a Hall of Fame level country music festival. I'm going to be doing some songs at famous Calgary Stampede, which I'm really excited about. And then just like I actually was talking to my producer earlier today and just get back in the studio, make more music, bank it, and just keep driving with my eyes closed and hope I don't go off a cliff, which is how I feel the music industry is. I will keep doing it until I do.
Absolutely. Well, listen, if Pamela comes to life, if that Spanish song comes to life, just don't forget about me, okay?
Hey, dude, for real. No, you're in my good books now, for real. I will send you that song. So yeah, I will talk to you anytime. And
Amazing.
make it down to Austin. You got to show me around.
Dude, absolutely. No question about it. I cannot wait. Looking forward to it. And thank you so much again for giving me your time today. I know it's not always the easiest to coordinate, but I appreciate it for sure.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, dude. We'll definitely be in touch and I'll keep you posted on the air details and all that good stuff, okay?
You got it, man. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Take care.
Take care, dude.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.